caught in the crossfire. It's caught in the...
What's up, guys? Lance the Obscure Movie Guy coming to you once again with another fun-filled, fact-filled video that you probably won't care about, but we're going to do it anyways, trying to change the world one post at a time. And we finally got recent news that Cobra Kai Season 6 is finally underway as far as filming goes, and hopefully will be released later this year, early of 2025. We also got news that there's going to be another Karate Kid movie, not necessarily in conjunction with Cobra Kai, but it is going to have some direct correlation because it is going to have Ralph Macchio in it, along with Jackie Chan, who was a part of the Karate Kid remake/reboot starring Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith. Not too many details on how those storylines are going to correlate with pre-existing Karate Kid movies or Cobra Kai itself, but I'm sure there has to be some sort of tie-in if you're going to have Ralph Macchio in the film as well. So that being said, I thought we would take a look at 3 obscure movies today that kind of have the same story trope or storyline as the Karate Kid. Child gets bullied, gets trained by some sort of master in whatever art it may be, and kid comes out on top, or character as it will be, as we'll see in the last film. So that being said, we're going to start off with 2011's Knockout.
Knockout is a 2011 Canadian-American sports drama film directed by Ann Wheeler. The film stars Steve Austin and Daniel Magner. Dan Barnes, played by Austin, is a former pro boxer who is retired after growing weary of his violent existence. Meanwhile, a boy named Matthews, played by Magner, learns how to box and stand up to his bullies, one of which is the school boxing champion Hector Torres. Dan's newfound role as a teacher helps him come to terms with his own tumultuous past.
So this wasn't a completely awful movie. I mean, the storyline, it's easy to watch it and see the correlation and the tie-ins with Karate Kid. It's a very similar story trope, very similar storyline. Older retired mentor takes on young kid who's being bullied at school, teaches him how to fight, and then that kid eventually comes out on top. However, this movie is not without its issues. While I do like Steve Austin as an actor, and given the right vessel and film, he's usually actually pretty good. But Knockout was not one of them. And nothing against Steve Austin's athletic abilities, but he's big, he's bulky, and he doesn't move very fluid. So it is very hard to convince me of any type of boxing prowess that his character has. Steve Austin is just not a boxer. He's going to be a wrestler through and through, and that's not just based on the fact that, yeah, he's Stone Cold Steve Austin and he was in the WWE forever. It's also based on the fact that, he just doesn't move like a boxer. Even though in the movie, he's supposed to be a heavyweight, even heavyweight boxers move with a little bit more fluidity and not so stiff. The same can be said for Daniel Magner, who was the kid in the film. Good acting ability, portrays the character very well, but lacks any type of athleticism when it comes to doing the actual boxing itself. So again, it was a hard thing to watch the boxing scenes with Austin and that character. I will say the guy that played Hector, who was essentially the bully and the kid boxing champ, he was a little bit more convincing. Actually moved with a lot more fluidity, looked a lot more natural doing it. So realistically, he would have came out on top, had it not been a film. But nonetheless, I give it a 5 out of 10. It's not completely awful. It's not breaking any new grounds or anything like that. I mean, as far as the acting goes, Steve Austin and Daniel Magner, they do, commendable jobs in the actual acting department as far as playing the character and portraying the character. But when it comes to the actual boxing and athleticism, they're both lacking in that department, and it kind of takes you out of the film a little bit. So the next one I want to talk about, this one is going to be, we're going to talk about this one for a little bit because it's got a lot of similarities to Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, and a bit of a sad story as far as the sequel goes. So we're going to talk about 2015's The Martial Arts Kid.
The Martial Arts Kid is a 2015 martial arts film written and directed by Michael Baumgarten. Stars Don the Dragon Wilson and Cynthia Rothrock, along with Jansen Panettiere. Robbie Oakes, played by Panettiere, is a Cleveland high schooler who, after losing his mother, finds himself constantly in trouble with the law. When his grandmother has had enough after his latest arrest, Robbie is sent to Cocoa Beach, Florida, to live with his Aunt Cindy and Uncle Glenn, played by Cynthia Rothrock and Don the Dragon Wilson. The night of his arrival, Robbie sneaks out of the house and goes to a local convenience store. There he sees a young girl named Rena sitting in her car. When he talks to her, Rena's boyfriend Bo harasses and punches him in the face. The next day, Robbie finds himself again harassed by Bo, who pushes him into the girls' locker room. At lunch, Robbie meets his first friend named Lenny, who sees the black eye and suggests that Robbie should learn self-defense, or it will be the longest 2 months of his life. When his Aunt Cindy invites him to lunch at a local restaurant, they are confronted by a thug, and when Robbie confronts the thug verbally, the thug pulls out a knife. Cindy takes on the thug and uses martial arts to stop him. The police arrive, and Robbie, in a state of shock, asks his Aunt Cindy to teach him martial arts to defend himself.
So The Martial Arts Kid, let's get the obvious out of the way. The title, obviously a play on The Karate Kid, and it is a very similar storyline. Jansen Panettiere plays Robbie Oakes, a troubled kid who gets in trouble with the law, doesn't have a mother or father, has been living with his grandmother, gets shipped off to his aunt and uncle, which are admirably played by Don the Dragon Wilson and Cynthia Rothrock. Now, anybody that knows anything about martial arts will tell you that Don the Dragon Wilson is a certified badass with a kickboxing career that lasted 4 decades, 72 plus wins, 47 by knockout, bona fide badass. Cynthia Rothrock is a 5-time weapons and forms champion and was inducted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame in 1983. She too, certified badass. Not to mention she has an 8th degree black belt in Tang Sudo. So the beauty of this movie is in its chemistry and its storyline. So Don the Dragon Wilson, Cynthia Rothrock play aunt and uncle. They are very good friends in real life, so their on-screen chemistry matches as far as wife and husband go. Robbie Oakes, played by Jansen Panettiere, admirable job there. And it's easy to watch this film and see the correlation in storylines with it and the Karate Kid. But not only that, coincidentally, towards the end of the film, you'll see a similar storyline to Cobra Kai with battling forms or battling against each other, different types of dojos. One, obviously, done by Don the Dragon Wilson, and then TJ Storm, who is again, certified badass. He's a stunt man, stunt coordinator, capoeira master. So TJ Storm is also very good. And the storyline leaves open for a sequel to be done where you would see, it looked like it was going to be more Battle of the Dojos heading into a second movie. Unfortunately, that movie never got off of the ground. And in 2018, Cobra Kai came out. And it would be very hard for them to do a sequel now. One, because the storyline would be very, very similar to that of Cobra Kai's. And two, unfortunately, as of February of 2023, Jansen Panettiere, younger brother of Hayden, unfortunately passed away at the age of 28 due to heart complications from an enlarged heart. So it'd be hard to have Robbie Oakes not be in the film. That being said, I did really like this film. I mean, again, it's kind of more of a, it's like Knockout. It's a little bit more wholesome and family oriented. Not too much violence, but there is some butt kicking, but no blood, no gore, nothing like that. So it is a solid movie. It is something that I would watch with the kids because there's a good message there about bullying or being bullied. And also just staying out of trouble. It's a good family movie along with Knockout. They both are good family movies. So I do highly recommend them, and I love seeing Cynthia Rothrock or Don the Dragon Wilson in anything that they do. And I love the fact that Don Wilson takes his acting just as serious as his fighting, but he really does look most comfortable when he is actually talking about kickboxing and how to perform a punch or a kick. And it's really nice to see because I kind of feel like Jansen was getting an actual lesson from the master himself outside of filming that aspect. So it was kind of cool to watch. So that's going to leave us with the last one we're going to talk about. Not so much family oriented in this one. This one is 2019's American Fighter.
American Fighter is a 2019 action drama film directed by Sean Paul Pacino, written by Pacino, Brian Rudnick, and Carl Morris. It stars George Costuros, Tommy Flanagan, and Sean Patrick Flannery. Desperate for cash to save his deathly ill mother, a college wrestler named Ali, played by Costuros, enters the hidden world of underground fighting. Ali shows promise, but he lacks skills and gets beaten badly. Duke, played by Sean Patrick Flannery, is a troubled handler and takes pity on the boy and trains him to be a fierce competitor. But is it enough to make Ali a winner?
So this was actually a pretty good movie and a much better movie than the ratings online would lead you to believe. I think my favorite thing about this is Sean Patrick Flannery, since one, he's one of my all-time favorite actors. Obviously, if anybody's familiar with him, Boondock Saints 2, Powder, and most recently did a fantastic job in Nefarious, which is another film I'll go over in another day. But the beauty of it is that he doesn't get to do this on screen a lot, but in real life, Sean Patrick Flannery is a 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And in fact, in 2003, won first place in his division during the Pan Jiu-Jitsu Championship sponsored by the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. So he's no slouch. In fact, after winning that championship, he even contemplated doing mixed martial arts, but in 2003, he was already past his prime as far as being a professional fighter. Nonetheless, this is another one of those films, like I said about Don the Dragon Wilson, where when you're watching it, there is a nice training montage with Sean Patrick Flannery and George Costanza, his character, Ali. And SPF looks very natural and looks like he's most comfortable when he's actually talking about doing certain moves, how to fight, and the mindset and stuff like that. And it's something that he doesn't really get to do a whole lot on screen. He doesn't really have a whole lot of movies where he showcases his actual fighting abilities. He's a very good dramatic actor, And I highly recommend everybody go watch Nefarious, because that is a great movie and he did a phenomenal job. Nonetheless, you should also watch this movie as well, because it's also fun to watch. Of the three movies, this one's probably got the best production. Knockout was a Canadian-based film. I'm not saying it was bad production, but nothing great there. The Martial Arts Kid was actually an independent film, so they had to do crowdfunding to get that going. This one's actually got much better production value. The storyline is not that bad, actually, and it takes place in the 70s. And you've got some good actors in there. Gustafas, Sean Patrick Flannery, Tommy McDonald. I'm sorry, Tommy Flanagan. Tom McDonald's the rapper. Tommy Flanagan is the badass Irish guy with the Glasgow scars. Nonetheless, he always plays a good bad guy. But yeah, there you have it. Coming off of the back of the news for the Karate Kid movie and Cobra Kai Season 6 coming out, here's three films that are very similar, with very similar tropes and storylines that you can certainly enjoy, two with the family, one by yourself. And as always, like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Feel free to share the video. Please subscribe. Let's try to get to 500 this year. I'm creeping my way there. And I appreciate everybody subscribing and doing all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video.